Hello and welcome to the show. You're watching Tech 24. I'm Julia Seeger. Hollywood is going through one of the most volatile periods in the history of the movie industry after the COVID-19 pandemic put a halt to productions. But new virtual techniques are now being adopted to slash costs. And they could be vacuuming up much more than you think. High-end robotic vacuums are known to clean up, but also to collect people's personal data to map their homes. We'll talk about it with Dan and Jay Kattlecar as we test the Roomba S9 Plus in Test 24. Now, new LED video wall technology used in making last year's The Lion King could become more widespread as Hollywood production ramps back up during the pandemic. Instead of shooting on location with a full cast and crew and having to respect social distancing requirements, it allows filmmakers on a studio lot to spread out individual scenes captured virtually using a variety of techniques.
And flame bar.
Shooting films while navigating social distancing, travel restrictions and other coronavirus measures. It's a big challenge for production crews as Hollywood gets back up and running. One piece of technology, however, could be a game changer. Used in Disney's reproduction of The Lion King and The Mandalorian series, an LED video wall allows filmmakers on a studio plot to spread out individual scenes captured virtually, instead of shooting on location with a full cast and crew.
You could now create a three-dimensional background that looks photoreal, except you can move the camera, you could change the lighting, you could make it look like you're on a huge stage.
My name is Stu Mercer.
Virtual production is a particularly different experience for actors, though unlike a traditional green screen, they can see and interact with the background. Itching to get back to work after months of disruption, most actors, including Joseph Gordon-Levitt, are open to the idea.
Yeah, I'm not averse to any technology, depending on the context. You know, I think different technologies are appropriate for some things and inappropriate for other things. But it's about sort of finding a good pairing between the tech you're using and the story you're trying to tell.
As films today rely increasingly on special effects, some experts say virtual production is the new way forward. For now, at least, it seems to be the best way to continue making blockbusters for the foreseeable future.
And on set with us this week, like every other week, is our in-house expert, Dan and Jay Kattlecar. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Julia.
So tell us how the video game technology can actually help the movie industry get back on its feet.
Well, modern video games that are high in quality, rich in graphics, they are developed by using game engines. These game engines allow the development of video games in quick time. Naturally, filmmakers are interested in using these game engines because it enables the creation of this spectacular visual environment without a lot of requirement of on-set production. So that's very important in times like these. And secondly, it's also a great tool for production process because you can add real-time visuals as a part of the production process.
Now, how can algorithms help choose the right time, the exact period when to release a blockbuster, for instance?
Well, whether it's pandemic time or whether it's normal time, the release date of any film is extremely important. Of course, at this time, it becomes even more critically important because, as you know, the Hollywood film industry has suffered a lot, and a number of films have had to postpone their releases, and there are some potential blockbusters that now will be crowded. The release of these blockbusters will happen simultaneously. So in such times, it's very important for the studios to have an optimum date release of their films. And for this, data science comes in extremely handy. So there's a firm, for example, called Gower Street Analytics that is using data science to simulate box office numbers by taking into account different parameters like the cast of the film, the director, the content, and using these numbers, they are able to basically predict the best dates for movie releases.
Well, thank you very much, Dan and Jay Kattlecar. You'll actually be with us back in the studio in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, we're going to keep on talking about the arts and how they often are here to shed light, a critical light on societal changes. Authors in particular tend to act as whistleblowers as they ponder and quietly observe how innovations are set to change our future. One such author is Tatiana de Rosnay, who's just released her 14th book, The Flowers of Darkness. Well, she joins me on set. Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Tatiana. So in a nutshell, could you give us a sense of what your book is about?
In a nutshell, that's always difficult. This book takes place in the near future. My heroine is a writer, and she moves into a very high-tech artistic residence after a rather messy breakup with her husband. And in this place, which is very connected, she hopes to turn over a new leaf and start writing, feeling at ease in her new home. But this incredible smart home with its eyes and cameras everywhere, a bit like here, somehow makes her feel spied upon. So this book is all about this woman's paranoia concerning all these objects, all this technology, which is supposed to make our life easier, but in the end, turns our life into hell.
Is it something that you're actually afraid of, that perhaps trying to always have a high-tech society and trying to gain time constantly, could that actually lead to the fact that men could maybe lose their identity or even lose their free will?
I think it's a fear that we all have, and we don't have to be in the near future to already feel this fear. Even when we, buy a new telephone or a new computer and we set it up, there's so much data that we give away. Every click online is monitored by who is watching us. Big Brother is still watching us. And I was interested in exploring how artificial intelligence invades every level of our life. And this is not a book about the progress of tech. This is not a book about technology. It's more a book about our intimacy and how robots, even sexual robots, can invade our intimacy, our private lives, our sexual lives. It's also a book about our fear of the future, how afraid we are of what is ahead of us. And this writer, who's not really me, although she could be me, I am surfing on her fears. These are fears that we can have even in our everyday life today because we use these devices. And my question is, as human beings faced with a world that is more and more ruled and run by robots, where's our place? How can we keep our place as human beings? What should we be doing to keep that place?
And can we keep the control?
Exactly.
Now, your book came out just a few days before the lockdown here in France in March. Tell us more about this pandemic, and do you think that with all the social distancing and everything that's been put in place to try to manage this pandemic, do you think it's going to hurt social human interactions in the long run?
When we came out of this lockdown, déconfinement as we call it in France, we all thought very rashly that we could go back to our lives of before, but we still can't kiss or hug each other or even shake hands. We still have to keep this social distancing, gestes barrières, as we call them in French, which sounds even worse somehow. And I'm wondering what kind of effect that will have on these young children that we're bringing up, teaching them to not touch people, to keep away. And then again, I think we have to think about what lies in store, because we are certainly not going back to the life of before. I think we're slowly getting that message. So what lies ahead, and how are we going to live in a world where we have to keep apart from each other?
Tatiana de Rosnay, thank you very much
indeed
for that. You're the author, as I said, of The Flowers of Darkness. It's a novel that was actually written simultaneously, both in French and in English, which is actually a world first, and which gives insight into how much technology is making us increasingly paranoid. Thank you again. And we're actually going to move on to Test 24, and as you'll see, smart homes spying on us is not that fictional. And Dan is back in the studio with us for Test 24. Dan, Tatiana de Rosnay, who was just on set with us, was talking about these connected homes that can make you start making you feel paranoid because of all the sensors and all the video cameras. To what extent is it actually true that perhaps our homes are spying on us today?
Well, every connected device, it needs data to make it more intelligent. So it's natural that it collects data. But this company, the iRobot company, it lays great emphasis on privacy. Now, according to its website, it says that it's using the highest standards of encryption to keep the data private and secure. Now, let's take a look at how this Roomba S9 Plus robot works. So as you can see, there's a base, it's called the clean base, and there's the robot. This robot it's quite expensive. It costs more than €1,000. And it can operate individually without the application, as it's doing now. And so you can just press clean on this button. It will start moving and clean the house. Or you can also have the application and direct the robot on which part of your apartment needs to be cleaned. It can also clean after you have left the apartment. It can also tell you how much time it spent cleaning the apartment. I mean, there are multiple functions in this app. Then there is a mapping of this, so you can create these zones in your apartment through the app, and you can tell the robot if you want a particular part of the apartment to be cleaned. Now, it also comes with the so-called perfect edge technology that allows it to hug these tight corners or hug corners much tightly, so that ensures a better cleaning process.
Thank you, Dan. That actually brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech 24. You can watch it again on our website, france24.com. See you soon.
It's quite heavy, this machine. Yeah.